Right now, as we head into 2023, there are more options than ever than to get yardages on a golf course. You've got laser rangefinders, you've got GPS units, and you have GPS watches. Yes, I have got 6 GPS watches on my wrist, and I've got more sitting down here. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the best GPS watches to buy in 2023. There are a ton of different options on the market that can do everything from just tell you the yardage to be full-on smartwatches and have every feature you could ever imagine. So regardless of what your budget is, regardless of what features you need, there is a golf watch out there for you, and there's a good chance I've reviewed it. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about my favorite golf watches of 2023. Let's stop wasting time, get right into it. Okay, real quick, before we go into my actual picks, I just want you to kind of keep this in mind as you were thinking about buying a GPS golf watch. What do you really need it for? What do you want out of a GPS golf watch? Are you just looking for yardages to the front, back, and the center of the green? If that's all you need, then great, I'm gonna save you a bunch of money. You can spend like $100 and get that. We're gonna talk about a couple options for that type of watch. Or are you looking for a watch that can kind of do it all? You wanna keep score, you want it to pair with an app, you wanna track your sleep, you want notifications, you want a watch that can do everything. Well, there's recommendations for that as well. Or are you somewhere in the middle where it's like, yeah, I want some of the features, but I'm only still going to wear this on the golf course? There's that middle ground also. So just kind of think about what you actually want to use, because that's going to dictate the type of watch you're going to buy and how much you should plan on spending. Okay, let's start out on the budget range. Best GPS watch under $100. And coincidentally, my best recommendation is actually a watch I don't have here, but that is the Bushnell Edge. So I have reviewed every other golf watch that Bushnell has made, and they're super reliable. That's the thing about Bushnells. You know it's going to be accurate, you know it's going to be a nice design, you know it's going to be, a solid build quality, and for $100 you can get the Bushnell Edge. The precursor to that was the Bushnell Ion 2, so I have reviewed that. It was great, but that was a $200 watch, and the Edge essentially has all those same features for like $100 less. So you're getting a reputable brand, a great watch at a great price. The other watch I might consider that I have actually used under $100 is the TECTECTEC ULT-G. So this watch is great. It does not a whole lot, but it will give you accurate yardages. It's been reliable. It's not as well known as the Bushnell, but the newer TECTECTEC products, I had some issues with their older rangefinders. I didn't think they were very good, but the newest one, like the TECTECTEC Clear rangefinder and this watch are great. It's kind of up to you to decide, look at the features online. The Bushnell is going to be the better name. It's going to be more reliable, so that's probably the one I would go to. But if for some reason you're anti-Bushnell, then this watch will do a great job as well. Okay, next up is best GPS watch under $200. And my first pick is going to be actually the most recent watch I've reviewed, and that is the Bushnell Ion Elite. This is the best golf watch Bushnell has ever made, which isn't necessarily saying a whole lot because it comes in at $199. They're not really trying to compete with the higher end Garmins that we're gonna talk about later in this video. But this is a big step up from the Edge, which is their $100 product we just mentioned, because it has a color screen for one, so that's a big feature. And second, you can get full color GPS maps, so you can get distances to any point on any hole, hazards, all on the watch, which is a first for Bushnell. It also pairs with the Bushnell Golf app. So if you've maybe got a Bushnell Wingman speaker, you've already got the Bushnell app, you can get additional information in the app, and it actually works really well. You can keep score on the watch, you can save it to the app, so if you are going to use this, the app is definitely a good companion. So you're not gonna find a ton of the more advanced features in this watch, but if you're looking for a basic color screen with some GPS maps and app support, for $200, this watch is going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. Okay, the second watch I would recommend under $200 is one I have not personally used, but it has been on my radar, so I wanted to mention it here, and that is the Golf Buddy AIM W11. So again, this comes in at like $189, $199, but it has quite a bit more in the way of features than this does. It even has a heat map for the greens, so you can actually see where the undulations are in the green on your golf watch, which usually only comes in watches that are a lot more expensive. So the reviews on this watch, they seem a little hit and miss on Amazon, but you definitely get more in the way of features for about the same price as the Bushnell. Golf Buddy, not necessarily the name brand that Bushnell is, but the Golf Buddy rangefinders I've used in the past have been very good. So I think that is one worth considering. It's worth checking out. It's worth doing your own research on. But as far as products I've actually used, I 100% recommend the Bushnell Elite for the reasons I mentioned. But if you want to take a chance on something that's got more features, but may or may not have the user experience and the reliability, then check out the Golf Buddy watch. Okay, next up, we're going to talk best mid-range GPS golf watch. This is like the $250 to $350 range. So my best pick in this range is the Voice Caddie T9. So all of the Voice Caddie, Swing Caddie products I've used have been really good. I've used the SC300 launch monitor, which is great for the price, and I've heard really good things about the Voice Caddie rangefinder, although I haven't tested that one for myself. This watch, however, it's got some really cool features. So it's got built-in tempo. So when you're just taking practice swings, it'll tell you what your ratio is on your swing to make sure that you're timing your backswing and your downswing properly to make sure that you've got good tempo while you're swinging. It also has some of the most, if not the most in-depth green data of any watch I have tested. So it's got even more green data in terms of undulations, breaks, speeds compared to the Golf Buddy that I mentioned before. And right now this watch, I think it retails for $350, but I've been seeing it lately for under $300. That's a pretty killer deal. It's got a really bright screen. I really like the user interface. And so this is kind of a sleeper watch that I don't think gets a ton of credit, but has really been one of my favorites that I've reviewed over the past year. So I will also link to our full review of this watch below, but I don't think you can go very far wrong with it. If you're looking for another option in that range, you might consider the Garmin S42. So personally, between these two watches alone, I would generally go for the Voice Caddie. I think it's got a few extra features that I really like. I think the Voice Caddie has a little bit of a better screen. This one has always felt just a little bit dim to me, especially if you're used to wearing like an Apple Watch, but there are some benefits to going with the Garmin. So right now the S42 I think is in the like $250 range if you want to use the Garmin CT10 sensors. So those are the swing sensors you put on your club, pairs with the app. It's going to track every single shot you hit on the golf course. The S42 can do this. So in order to use those sensors, you have to have a Garmin watch. So if you're looking to not break the bank, not go for the full S62, kind of their flagship model, but you still want to use the sensors, the S42 is a great option. It's going to be a little bit more feature heavy than say the Bushnell Elite we talked about in that $200 range, and you're getting more, but you're not having to necessarily pay a whole lot more to go with this watch. But again, if you're just looking at the watches on their own, the T9, which is a little more expensive than the Garmin, is probably the one I would give my nod to. Also, I should point out, all of the watches I mentioned in this video are great. They are all worth it. They are all worth buying. Some are going to satisfy different needs for different people at different price points. So if you're looking at a $500 watch and you decide to go with a $100 watch, then you might be disappointed. But if you keep all of that stuff in mind, then every watch I mentioned today is worth getting for what they are. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about the best watch with shot tracking capabilities. We just talked about the Garmin with the CT10 sensors, but you got to buy those separately, and that can get a little bit expensive. But if you want kind of an all-in-one system that also might be the best value we're going to talk about in this whole video, I would look at the SHOTSCOPE V3. So SHOTSCOPE kind of has the budget swing tracking system. It retails for somewhere around $200, but lately they've been having things on sale, and if you use our coupon code, which I'll link to below, it brings the price of the entire system down to $136. And what's cool about that Arccos doesn't have, that Garmin doesn't have, is that their sensors come with a GPS watch. So literally, you put on the SHOTSCOPE GPS watch, you can get, all your basic distances across the course. You have the sensors on your club. After the round, it's going to pair with the app, and you are going to get data around every single shot you hit throughout the round, while also getting distances during the round, while only paying $136 for the moment. That's probably going to go up after the holidays, but you can still use our coupon code, which I'll link below, to save you 15%, I believe is what it is. So if you're looking in kind of that budget range, that $100 range, you can spend just a little bit more money. You can get a watch that's pretty much going to do the same things as those other watches we mentioned below, but you're also getting all of the shot tracking data as well, and that is a pretty killer deal. So honestly, as a shot tracking system, I prefer the CT10, and more than that, I prefer Arccos. I use Arccos for my shot tracking personally, but in the budget range, without a subscription coming with the GPS watch, there is a ton of value packed into the SHOTSCOPE deal, and I think it's going to be a great fit for a lot of people. Okay, I've just got 2 more watches for you. We're almost done with this video. This next one is the GPS watch I use the most. I know there's some of you that are watching this, you're seeing me talk about all these, I've got all these watches, and all you want to know is, well, what do you use? You're the expert, what's the watch that you use? And me personally, the GPS golf watch I use the most is the Apple Watch Ultra. So you're either an Apple Watch person or you're not. I don't need to sell you on getting an Apple Watch. But maybe you've got an Apple Watch and you're thinking about upgrading to the Ultra. So I've had mine for a couple months now, and here are the benefits I've found. I really like the bigger screen. I really, really like the added battery life, and those are kind of the 2 main things. I guess the third thing I would mention is when you swing with the older Apple Watches that didn't have this indented crown, the crown kind of stuck out. When you would hit your backswing, often it would activate Siri on your swing. Well, with the new watch design of the Ultra, that doesn't happen. And so that was kind of a minor annoyance, but it's a big deal. It's made it more enjoyable to use on the course for me. I also hear you saying, cool, that's an Apple Watch, not a GPS golf watch. How do you get GPS distances on your watch? So there are great iPhone GPS apps that you can use with your Apple Watch, like Golf Shot GPS. That's what I used for years early on in my golfing career. But the thing I use most now is my Apple Watch with Arccos. So if you've watched previous videos, you know I'm a huge fan of Arccos. I use it all the time. I've played hundreds of rounds with it. And the fact that the battery life is so much better on this, it means that all I have to do is pair the watch with my phone. I don't have to have my phone in my pocket. I don't have to use the add-on, the Arccos Link, because this will very easily last through an entire round of golf using Arccos. The watch will track everything for me. It'll pair to my phone when I get close to it, and I get all the data I need. Not to mention, I can get all of the GPS distances while I'm playing as well. So Arccos has done a really good job with the user interface of their Apple Watch app. And now that I've got the Ultra, it's made it much more convenient to just use Arccos and not worry about my phone when I'm on the course. So yes, Arccos has an annual subscription fee, but for me, I have found the data that I get, the user interface, it's by far the best shot tracking app and best shot tracking system, and the Apple Watch makes it even better. And finally, our last watch is the best overall golf GPS watch, and that is the Garmin S62. This watch is awesome. So it is a big, big step up from the S42. If you're looking for a watch that can do everything, that has features that no other watch has, this is it. One of the biggest ones is the virtual caddy feature. So we've been talking about shot tracking and recommendations, like for instance, Arccos will make recommendations based on shots that you've hit. Well, Garmin with the S62 has a virtual caddy feature that will do that with just the watch. It will track your distances, it will learn how far you hit each club, and then it will make recommendations based on that. But even better than that, it can take into account slope elements, it can take into account wind elements to give you even more accurate recommendations for distances. This also does a great job with fitness tracking, it gives you notifications, it can be a watch you can wear day in and day out if it is something that you are looking to do. Right now through the end of the year, this watch is also on sale. It retails for right around $500. You can get it, I think it's like $450, maybe even a little bit less right now. But when I have used this watch, this has been the one that I've kind of used that's like, oh, whoa, this is pretty cool. This is really useful. There's some features I've never seen before. This is the one watch that makes me think, okay, maybe I'm gonna skip the Apple Watch and start wearing this thing on the course. If you are already a Garmin user, if you are in the Garmin ecosystem, if you have an Approach R10, if you have a Z82 rangefinder, if you use the CT10 sensors with a different watch, then that makes this a no-brainer. I've said it over and over again. I think Garmin's kind of been a sleeper in the golf world. They've created this ecosystem within the golf app for all of these different golf tech products that no other company can compete with. And I think this, for as good as the rangefinder is, for as good as the Approach R10 is, I think this is kind of the best of the best. This watch is excellent. So if you're trying to figure out what's the best overall watch, price isn't really an issue. I just want it to be accurate. I want it to have a ton of features and I want it to be fun to use. Look no further than the Approach S62. This thing is great. So there you go. Those are my picks for the best golf GPS watches in December 2022. Every watch I talked about here is excellent. It will do a great job. It will provide accurate results. Just keep your expectations in check relative to the price point of each watch. My name's Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here, Breaking 80. where we have cool golf product, golf tech, and golf course reviews. If you are into that, if you have enjoyed this video, maybe considering the old subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you're notified next time we got a cool review coming out on YouTube. And better yet, get on our email list, breaking80.com/hi. We send like 1 or 2 emails a week with all of our best stuff, so you will be notified every time we got a sweet new review. With that, I hope this was helpful in your golf watch journey, and drop a comment. Let me know what you use, let me know what you got. I would love to know, or if there's a product you would like to see me review, I would love to hear that as well. So let me know, and I hope you have an excellent day. Peace.